There's this guy. He lives in a village. The village is a couple miles away from the closest water source. And his job basically was to put a yoke on his back, hitched to 2 different buckets, and he'd make this hike every day. He'd fill his buckets up with water, walk back, and every day all of his inventory was sold out. Everybody wanted what he had. Everybody needed what he had. He had an incredible job security. And if he wanted to make more money, he'd just simply make more trips. He would go back and forth as many times as he could, and every time he went back and forth, he'd make more money. And anyway, that's how he provided for his family. That's how the village got water. Well, another guy sees this and says, man, I want to take advantage of that because that guy's got perfect job security. Everybody needs his product. And so he fashions himself a yoke, gets a couple buckets, and starts making trips the same as this other guy. Just like the other guy, everybody needed his product. He's making a good living. But what he ended up doing is, instead of making multiple trips per day, he would basically make one trip, and then he'd take whatever extra time he had and start building a pipeline. I guess you could say he was working full-time on his job and part-time on his fortune. Well, one man was hauling buckets back and forth, making more money than his friend. He worked day and night, night and day. First hauling buckets to make sure his family was taken care of, and then working nights and overtime trying to figure out how to build his pipeline, overcoming the concerns that he had to deal with, the rocks in the ground. He spent the time doing that to build his pipe consistently and persistently over time. Well, a few years later, he finally finishes the pipeline, gets it to the village, and eventually turns on a spigot. Now at this point, everybody in the village can come and get as much water as they want. It's cooler, cleaner, fresher, better than the water he was hauling with buckets, and cheaper. Everybody could get it much more affordably. And he did this. He not only built an actual pipeline that was a pipeline of water, but he also built a financial pipeline, something that would pay him and his family and take care of his needs for the rest of his life.